5 opponents for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41 if CM Punk faces Roman Reigns. Adam Copeland's explosive AEW debut sends shockwaves. Seth Rollins could be left without a clear opponent if CM Punk faces Roman Reigns at WWE WrestleMania 41. Before that, Seth will be facing Punk on the Netflix premiere of Raw on January 6. Recent reports suggest that WWE has locked in on a potential opponent for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. That would be CM Punk, who still has a favor from Paul Heyman waiting for him. It could be Punk's golden chance to get a WrestleMania main event and strike it off his bucket list. However, that would leave Seth Rollins without a clear opponent for Mania, as many WWE fans expected the two bitter rivals to go head-to-head at the grandest stage of them all. With that in mind, check out the 5 potential opponents for Seth Rollins at 2025's shows if CM Punk faces Roman Reigns. Bron Breakker will need a top opponent for WWE WrestleMania 41. Bron Breakker is riding high at the moment as the reigning Intercontinental Champion in his second reign. To retain his title, the 27-year-old star has overcome top names, including Jey Uso, Sheamus, and Ludwig Kaiser. Triple H could give Breakker a long run with the title that could last until WrestleMania 41. At the shows, Seth Rollins could challenge Bron Breakker for the title in one of the big championship matches. It would make sense to have Seth Rollins in a title match at WrestleMania if he doesn't get to face CM Punk or Roman Reigns. He is one of the top guys in WWE who can give Bron Breakker a massive push with a good match at Mania. Damian Priest is another top name on WWE Raw. Ever since Judgment Day betrayed him, Damian Priest has been a top babyface on WWE Raw. Much like Seth Rollins, the Archer of Infamy will also look for an opponent for WrestleMania 41. If he does not get a title match for the event, WWE could book him in a grudge rivalry with a heelish Rollins. Having the 2 top men of Raw get head-to-head at the shows wouldn't require any titles to be put on the line. A rivalry between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins could kick-start during the 2025 Royal Rumble. The 2 men could take it forward and have a final showdown at WrestleMania 41 to determine who is the better man. Bronson Reed could get back in his rivalry to replace CM Punk. The rivalry between CM Punk and Seth Rollins had to be fast-tracked after Bronson Reed suffered an injury at Survivor Series, War Games. Reed was injured after CM Punk saved Roman Reigns from a tsunami splash from the top of the cage. The last match between Bronson Reed and the Visionary saw the former come out on top thanks to Solo Sikoa's Bloodline's help. Rollins could look for a final match between the 2 WWE stars if Reed is cleared to compete before the shows. Revisiting the rivalry to put a decisive end to it would make perfect sense and allow Triple H and his men to book another top grudge match for the big event. Solo Sikoa and Seth Rollins have a story to tell. Seth Rollins has already helped to bring down one tyrant in the form of Roman Reigns. The Visionary could look to do something similar again, especially with Solo Sikoa and his bloodline costing him his last match with Bronson Reed. Solo Sikoa will face Roman Reigns in Tribal Combat on the Netflix debut of Raw. If Sikoa wins, he could start ruling Raw or SmackDown, even proving to be as much of an oppressor as the OTC was. Seth Rollins could turn face again and target Solo to take him out of power and prove to WWE fans that he wants what's best for them. A rivalry between the Visionary and Solo Sikoa will surely be a must-watch affair heading into WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre could go after the Visionary after Roman Reigns. With CM Punk and Roman Reigns possibly busy in a rivalry heading into WrestleMania 41, Drew McIntyre will also be on the lookout for top names to face at the show. The Scottish Warrior is currently hunting down members of the OG Bloodline, and many believe he could face the OTC at the shows. However, if CM Punk and Roman Reigns dance at the show, It will make sense to book him against his WrestleMania. Fans could see Seth Rollins and McIntyre reignite their rivalry for WrestleMania, this time without a title on the line. The Scottish Warrior did attempt to attack Rollins backstage on a recent edition of Raw before Sami Zayn intercepted him. Having the two heavyweights go head-to-head at the show will allow Triple H to book a top match. They can deliver another top-class performance at the show. Seth Rollins has solidified himself as one of the top WWE superstars of his generation, with a career that spans several notable achievements, including multiple world championships, classic matches, and unforgettable moments that have defined his legacy. With WrestleMania 41 on the horizon, fans are already speculating on who Rollins could face at the event. However, a fascinating dynamic enters the fray with the possibility of CM Punk facing Roman Reigns at the grandest stage of them all. If Punk and Reigns were to square off in a marquee match, Rollins would need a worthy adversary of his own to ensure that the event is loaded with captivating bouts. Many potential opponents come to mind for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41, each offering a unique storyline, rivalries, and fresh matchups that could captivate the audience. The task of determining the perfect opponent for Rollins at WrestleMania requires a balance between history, personal animosity, future opportunities, and the right level of intensity to match his unmatched in-ring ability. Let's explore 5 potential opponents for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41, if CM Punk faces Roman Reigns, and how these matches could elevate the stakes of the night, adding complexity to WWE's already stacked card. One of the most intriguing and highly anticipated matchups for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41 would be a showdown against AJ Styles. This match would be a dream encounter between two of the most talented and decorated wrestlers of their respective generations. Rollins and Styles have crossed paths before, but a WrestleMania bout would elevate the stakes and take their rivalry to new heights. Both men have spent years establishing themselves as the best in the world, and a match between them would have every wrestling fan buzzing with excitement. Rollins, known for his high-flying, hard-hitting style, would bring an intense energy to the match, while Styles, with his vast experience and technical prowess, would provide a contrast that could produce a truly epic contest. Styles' versatility in the ring, combined with Rollins' ability to adapt to any opponent, would make for a classic encounter that would steal the show. The storyline could revolve around the battle for supremacy, with both Rollins and Styles seeking to prove who is the superior athlete. Their match could be filled with incredible near falls, high-impact maneuvers, and a palpable sense of urgency, all of which would create an unforgettable spectacle at the biggest stage in professional wrestling. The personal animosity could stem from both wrestlers vying for recognition as the best in the world. With Styles' long-standing rivalry with Reigns and Rollins' place in the upper echelon of WWE, this feud could see both men making claims to being the true face of WWE, setting the stage for an emotionally charged encounter. The match would also give the audience a sense of nostalgia, as Rollins and Styles have been two of the most influential wrestlers of the past decade. Their clash at WrestleMania would solidify both of their legacies, offering fans a moment that they would remember for years to come. Another compelling opponent for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41 would be none other than Finn Balor. Balor, the leader of the Judgment Day, has a complicated relationship with Rollins, and the history between these two could provide an intense backdrop for their encounter. The animosity between Rollins and Balor dates back to their encounters over the WWE Universal Championship and beyond, with their rivalry taking twists and turns that have kept fans on the edge of their seats. Balor's connection with the Judgment Day provides an additional layer to the feud, as Rollins, who has had run-ins with the faction before, would find himself up against not only Balor, but potentially the entire stable. This dynamic could add complexity to the match, with Rollins having to outsmart and overcome the odds stacked against him. A match between Rollins and Balor would undoubtedly feature high-flying, high-intensity action, as both wrestlers are known for their agility, speed, and innovative offense. Rollins and Buller would be able to go toe-to-toe in a series of exhilarating exchanges, with the match likely to include creative spots that would have the crowd match would also be raised by the personal nature of their rivalry, as both men have shown in past encounters that they are willing to do whatever it takes to win. Rollins, being the ever-resilient babyface, would have to dig deep to overcome Buller and the Judgment Day, and this could make for a thrilling encounter that would captivate the WWE Universe. The match would also represent a clash of philosophies, as Rollins represents the fighting spirit of WWE, while Buller, with his dark side and association with Judgment Day, brings a more sinister edge. The tension between their contrasting personas could result in a highly charged atmosphere, where the desire to settle the score is just as important as the championship aspirations. A Rollins vs. Buller showdown at WrestleMania 41 would no doubt be a match that is as personal as it is physical, with both competitors going all out to prove who is the better wrestler and whose philosophy reigns supreme. For another thrilling matchup at WrestleMania 41, look no further than a contest between Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. Lashley, a dominant force in WWE, has recently regained momentum as a top contender, and a feud with Rollins could be just what both men need to elevate their careers. Lashley's size, power, and aggression would serve as a stark contrast to Rollins' speed, agility, and high-flying offense. This contrast in styles would make for a dynamic and compelling match that would keep fans at the edge of their seats. The story between these two could be built around Lashley's desire to reclaim his place at the top of WWE, while Rollins looks to prove that his resilience and technical mastery are what define a true champion. Lashley, with his powerhouse approach, would look to overpower Rollins at every turn, while Rollins would look to outsmart and outmaneuver his larger opponent. The physicality of the match would be a spectacle, with Lashley delivering punishing blows and Rollins using his speed and agility to avoid the full brunt of Lashley's offense. This dynamic would create an exciting back-and-forth encounter that showcases both wrestlers' strengths. Additionally, Lashley's association with the Hurt Business could play a role in the storyline, with the faction potentially interfering in the match to ensure Lashley's victory. This outside interference could set up an intense battle between Rollins and Lashley, where Rollins would have to fight off not only Lashley's power, but also the numbers advantage of the Hurt Business. The eventual payoff could see Rollins overcome the odds and defeat Lashley in a hard-fought contest, further solidifying his place as one of WWE's top superstars. Another exciting possibility for Rollins' WrestleMania opponent would be the emerging star of Bron Breakker. Breakker, who has been making waves on NXT, is seen as one of the next big stars in WWE, and a match against Rollins at WrestleMania could be the perfect way to elevate his career to the main event scene. Breakker's combination of strength, agility, and intensity would make for a thrilling contest against Rollins, who would bring his signature blend of technical wrestling, high-flying maneuvers, and charisma to the match. A story between Breakker and Rollins could revolve around the passing of the torch, with Breakker looking to prove himself against one of WWE's most accomplished superstars. Rollins, as the established veteran, would be the perfect adversary for Breakker, as the match would test the young star's ability to hang with one of the best in the business. The dynamic between the two would be fascinating, as Rollins would have to contend with Breakker's raw power and youthful energy, while Breakker would have to navigate Rollins' experience and ring savvy. This would be a classic old guard versus new guard rivalry, and the potential for a thrilling encounter would be high. Breakker's rise to prominence has been meteoric, and a victory over Rollins at WrestleMania 41 would solidify him as a future WWE champion. For Rollins, the match would represent an opportunity to put over a rising star, cementing his legacy as someone who helps elevate the next generation of WWE talent. The intense battle between Rollins and Breakker would be a must-see match, with the future of WWE. A highly anticipated matchup for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41 could involve a clash against none other than the returning Randy Orton. Orton, one of the most decorated WWE superstars of all time, has been on the shelf due to injury, but the prospect of his return to the ring and a feud with Rollins would send shockwaves through the WWE universe. Orton and Rollins have had several interactions over the years, but a full-scale rivalry between the two would be a perfect fit for the spectacle of WrestleMania. Orton's cold, calculating demeanor and his methodical approach to in-ring competition would provide a stark contrast to Rollins' high-octane, unpredictable style. A match between the two would see both competitors push each other to their limits, delivering a clash of styles that would captivate the audience. The history between Rollins and Orton, dating back to their days in the Authority, would only add layers to the story. The personal animosity between these two could create an intense build-up, with both men having unfinished business to settle. Orton's penchant for targeting the legs of his opponents and Rollins' desire to prove himself as one of the best in the business would create a compelling rivalry that fans would be eagerly invested in. A showdown at WrestleMania 41 between these two seasoned veterans would be an unforgettable moment that could add even more drama to what is sure to be an action-packed card. These 5 opponents, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley, Bron Breakker, and Randy Orton, each present unique challenges for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41. Each matchup brings something different to the table, from technical battles to powerhouse clashes, from passing the torch to settling old scores. If CM Punk were to face Roman Reigns in a massive match at the same event, Rollins would undoubtedly need an opponent who could bring the same level of excitement and intensity to the table. These potential opponents for Rollins represent a wide range of styles and narratives, but one thing is certain: whatever direction WWE chooses, Rollins will undoubtedly have a spectacular WrestleMania moment that will leave the fans talking long after the event is over.